So I get out the car and it's like everything happens so fast. And all I hear is this man screaming, he said, dance, and he started shooting. And I'm just like, oh my God.
The tea's hot. We're spilling the tea.
Listen, don't out me like that.
Listen, I mean, everybody is talking about this
true.
hot interview that Megan Thee Stallion did with Gayle King. Talking about, of course, the shooting that took place with Tory Lanez. She alleges that Tory Lanez shot her.
In July of 2020.
In July of 2020. So we're going to get into all of that. We're going to break down this interview, our thoughts, what the internet is saying, and provide some good analysis. But before we even get into that, let's do a few things like subscribing to this channel, tapping that notification bell.
Smashing that like button and following us across all of our social media.
Like, cause I'm like, oh my God, if I take the wrong step, I don't know if he can shoot something that's like super important. I don't know if he could shoot me and kill me. Like,
Were you afraid for your life at that
I was
time?
really scared because I had never been shot at before.
What's your initial reaction after watching the interview?
You mean, do I believe her? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I do, and I know my inclination is to believe women. But looking at other news stories that have happened as of late, without like specifically naming a few, I think it's, to me at least, it's kind of transparent that this is her truth.
I never put my hands on anybody. I never raised my voice too loud. Like, this was one of them times where it was like, it shouldn't have got this crazy.
It shouldn't have escalated to
Right.
the way that it did.
To me, to be that vulnerable on TV after having kind of a 2-year almost period of not talking about it, it'd be very strange to me if she all of a sudden took this opportunity to lie.
100%. I think what's really interesting about this is that I think there's a lot of people out watching this. They're like, I'm so tired of this case. Like, I'm just so tired of this story. And there's a lot of people wondering, well, Tory has his side because he's come out and said that this didn't happen and it's a whole big palooza. Not those exact words.
Yeah, but
you know
yeah.
what I mean. Meg has come out and shared her side of the story, and now we're finally hearing. And some people are even saying, well, if this is going to the courts, why is she allowed to speak on, on the situation? I think that's a big question mark for a lot of people, safe to say. But watching the interview, I really did sense of vulnerability to Meg that I don't think I've ever witnessed or seen.
She is such a strong woman, and that's really her brand too, right? Is that strength, that power, that femininity. And to see her break down and be so raw, that's like, again, what I'm saying, like, I couldn't imagine somebody like that. It'd be like Beyonce getting on TV and crying and then everybody being like, no, you're a liar.
Yeah.
It's so out of character that it's kind of weird to me that people don't believe it. But then people don't believe women and people don't believe black women.
Right. So there's that other narrative. It's a tough story, and it's a tough situation because I think because Tory Lanez is a black man, this is a black woman, and I don't think the community, the culture wants to see anybody necessarily face jail time or be put in jail. But at the end of the day, a shot was fired, and according to Meg, that shot hit her, and so somebody was hurt. I think what's so interesting about this interview is that she says, when initially the shots were fired and she got hit, that her initial instinct was to create a story where nobody was going to get in trouble.
To protect, because she had said that this was around the time of George Floyd, right?
Exactly.
So she was more concerned almost with protecting her community and her group
her
of
friend,
friends.
and then and Tory, because she was afraid that who knows what was going to happen with these cops. Like, she said that, cops are known to, shoot first, ask questions later, and she didn't want to see anything else happen. So, I mean, her even just saying that, like, my initial reaction was to, was to make sure that none of us got in trouble or none of us were to die. Like, that, to me, that kind of hit me, because that shows me somebody whose instincts are selfless, not selfish.
Yes. And
right?
she had also spoken about how both she and Tory had both lost their mothers.
So their
and how
relationship, exactly.
They had that kind of bond together, and how she was maybe not surrounding herself with the best group of people because she had recently lost her mom. I think her mom passed away like about a year before this happened, and she was looking for that family unit because obviously her father passed away as well when she was younger, right? So not feeling alone in the world and just looking for that love and connection.
And I think that's the connection that I want to touch on, because a lot of people have been talking about and have always wondered, like, how did they become such good friends? To what extent were they friends? And how did that relationship even form? And based off of what she says, it was because of, the trauma that they both went through of losing their their parent,
Mothers, yeah.
their mothers. They bonded over that. And you know what? In a situation like that, people can get really, 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 really close. But let's also remind folks that there were allegations before this interview that there potentially was a sexual component.
Yes.
I mean, let's be honest. We've seen photos of Meg,
Yeah.
up on, Tory up on Meg, Meg up on Tory, and Gayle asked her verbatim, "Have you been sexual with Tory Lanez?"
And
Did you have an intimate relationship with him?
like sexual?
Yeah. Megan, did you have a sexual relationship with Tory Lanez? Yes, that's my question.
I didn't have a sexual relationship with Tory.
What did you make of her answer, if you don't mind me asking?
I have a hard time believing that they didn't have a sexual relationship, and I didn't have an opinion on it before I watched the interview this morning. But her hesitancy in answering the question did leave me to believe that it wasn't necessarily true.
But do you think the hesitancy was because she potentially didn't want to admit that there was a sexual past, or was she taken aback by the question even being asked?
I think the first part, because I think it's very unlikely that like you wouldn't go into that situation being prepared to be asked, because so many people are talking about that online. You know, why were they together?
That narrative has been sworn.
Yeah, so it's
Right.
almost like I think it would have been more shocking if Gayle never asked. You know, that's in my opinion. But
Because there was a bit of hesitation on her part when she did answer the question, and not to dissect every little section of this interview,
No.
because of course being in an interview is, people get nervous. Like I've seen people, very high ranks, I'm interviewing them and you can see that they're sweating from head to toe.
Yeah.
And so sometimes they can have natural reactions that can come across on camera like,
little untruthful kind
but
of.
there was a moment of hesitation when she answered that question.
There was, for
Yeah.
sure, 100%.
What do you think is going to happen to Tory? What ultimately is going to happen from this case? Because realistically, he could find himself in jail, right? That's the reality. Or he could be, all the charges could be dismissed.
Yep.
But I mean, because it doesn't seem to me, like after watching that, it doesn't seem that Meg actually wants him to go to jail.
No.
It doesn't seem like, it almost felt like she just wanted this to go away. She wanted to spill her side of the story. And she wanted, that's how it felt to me. I also didn't hear her say that she wanted him to go to jail.
No, I didn't hear that either, and I feel like that would be maybe if that was something that she felt, something she would have clearly said, if that was what she was looking for. But I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. The American justice system is so interesting, for lack of a better term, and we don't, obviously, like, we don't know all of the evidence and stuff that like their different lawyers and attorneys have, but I do agree with you that it was almost like she was like, if I talk about this now, can we never do this again? What do you think?
I think the hip hop community is divided. I think there are going to remain people, there are going to be people out there who will believe this is all a fabricated story.
Well, let's talk about that, because in the interview, they touched on that. Some people don't even believe that she was shot, especially because what she had initially told police was that she stepped on glass.
Exactly.
Right?
Again, to protect,
Yeah,
in her words, to protect her friend and to protect Tory.
Which makes sense, and we, like, she said that. But in the interview, across the screen, like, we'll leave this to CBS's fact checkers, but they showed a medical report that showed that she still had bullet fragments in her foot. How are you gonna get bullet fragments in your foot if you weren't shot?
Right.
Not to interrupt, but did you guys see Meg's tweet where she said, "So a man can shoot me, chop up horse legs in music videos to taunt me, pay blogs to spread false information from what's happening in court, record studio albums and make diss tracks, but when I talk to Gayle King, that's the last straw."
Ooh.
Because somebody tweeted at her and said, "Crazy how Meg gets to speak on whomever platform or song about the situation, but Tory or he goes to jail, being it's still an open investigation."
Okay, so another, come sit down.
Join us.
We're bringing in our
Okay, resident hip hop
legal
expert.
I do love Meg, so I'm on Meg's side.
So, I mean, we were breaking down how we kind of felt about all these things. I mean, it came across to me, one of the last things we were saying is that it doesn't feel like Meg wants necessarily Tory to go to jail. It almost seems like she wants the situation to be put behind them. Is that safe to say, in your
I agree,
perspective?
because when the situation first happened, Meg did say that the reason she didn't say, "Oh, Tory this, Tory that," was because he's a black man.
Right.
And we do see the repercussions of black people and police, specifically.
And I
black
feel like
men
she
with
deserves
police.
credit for that
100%.
because
I agree.
nobody's given her credit for
However,
that.
we also need to look at the narrative of like who's protecting black women. That's always the problem. No one is supporting black women. Black women are always expected to be the ones
To carry the burden.
to carry everybody, to fix everyone's problems, to do this, to do that,
And
it's
if
like,
they speak out, then they're an angry black woman.
correct. So there's no way for her to be a hero in the situation.
Yeah.
She protected Tory, and then all of these things came out, and then she was still the bad person.
Yeah.
She's
Even though
standing
technically
up
she's
for
the victim
herself.
right now.
She's standing up for herself, and then she's the bad person.
Mm-hmm.
She does one interview, and she's the bad person. But Tory can tweet up and down the timeline, blah blah blah. DJ Academics can put his 2 cents in there as if he's a journalist,
And then we should say that DJ Academics almost compromised this case when he tweeted about the fact
saying
that
that Tory's DNA wasn't on the gun.
right, but this is before the court case even was
Court
happening.
didn't even start.
Exactly, and there was a
Yeah.
lot of potential legal repercussions because of that.
100%, and he deleted the tweet, which is great. However, the problem is that media and blogs and everything want to be first, not right.
So I mean, what question I was asking Miss Dev, Auntie Dev, was what do you foresee the future of this court case? Like, what do you think is going to happen to Tory? What do you want to see happen to Tory?
What do you want?
I don't wish downfall on anybody. However, I do think, and I don't wish jail time on him because it still is unknown of who shot the gun. She got shot, that is fact.
Yeah.
But we don't know if it was Tory.
She says it was him though.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying.
No.
Based
She
off
says
the
it was
interview.
him.
Yeah.
So then
But the courts will have to.
they have
you
to decide
yeah.
if they believe it beyond an
reasonable doubt,
right? One of the things that could happen to him is that he'll get federal charges and not be able to cross the border.
Oh, that was
And
the other
he'll-
thing I was gonna say. That's
He'll be
the
deported to Canada because he's a Canadian citizen and he'll never be able to tour.
in the States, which is obviously
Because Chris Brown
largest
can't come
market.
Here. Look at all Chris Brown's charges. He can't come here. People will go to the States to see him. It's way more accessible because there's more shows. He's going to lose a lot of money because artists don't make money off of streams.
no,
So-
it's all about touring, and the tours happen in the States.
We really need to reflect on who's about their bag because it's not Tory. And that's how I feel about it.
Or
Because
maybe he is. He's about protecting his bag because he knows what can happen if he loses this case.
the situation shouldn't have escalated the way that it did if he was really about his bag. Because she didn't shoot at anybody. Even if she did, she said she didn't put her hands on anybody. Even if she did put her hands on somebody, she didn't shoot anybody. Nobody could die. She could have died. And then what?
Well, I mean, this is a story that is going to continue to unfold, no matter if you want it to or not, and we will continue following it, whether you want us to
Or not.
or not.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, but let us know how you're feeling about this and about the interview, and where do you stand on this? I mean, in the court of public opinion. Let us know in the comment section right now. On that note, good job, guys. Or ladies.
Bye.
Hey BG Squad, thanks so much for checking out our channel, and listen to this, we have more great content for you, like this video right here and this video right here. By the way, don't forget to subscribe to this channel right now and tap that notification bell.